This is a method of reasoning question, and we have to suggest how the argument has been developed. The conclusion is that at least some raptors were exothermic. That means at least some raptors produced their own heat. The missing link is between the raptors having feathers similar to the feathers of flightless birds and the conclusion that at least some raptors produce their own heat. Our broad expectation from the correct answer choice is that it draws an analogy between the feathers of raptors and the feathers of flightless birds and draws a conclusion about raptors. Answer choice A. This answer choice talks about reaching a conclusion about an unknown phenomenon by drawing an analogy between it and a known phenomenon. Yes, this is what the argument does, because the argument concludes that the raptors, that means an unknown phenomenon, had similar feathers as the feathers of flightless birds, that means a known phenomenon, and on the basis of this analogy, the argument concludes that at least some raptors could produce their own heat. Please note that the term similar here and the term analogy here are parallel. So this answer choice correctly indicates the method of reasoning in the argument. Let's keep it on hold. Answer choice B. This answer choice talks about a new interpretation of evidence and also refers to an earlier hypothesis. The passage indicates one hypothesis, that at least some raptors were exothermic, but the passage makes no suggestion regarding an earlier hypothesis with respect to a later hypothesis. So this term, earlier hypothesis, cannot be established from the argument. Also, the passage refers to a recent discovery, which would indicate that the evidence itself is recent. However, the passage makes no suggestion regarding a new interpretation as compared to an old interpretation of this evidence. So again, this term, new interpretation, cannot be established from the argument. So either way, this answer choice cannot be established as the method of reasoning in the argument. So let's eliminate this answer choice. Answer choice C. This answer choice talks about complete explanation of different pieces of evidence that oppose one another. The argument mentions only one piece of evidence, that is the recent discovery of fossils of prehistoric raptors, and this term, pieces of evidence that oppose one another, this term cannot be established from the argument. So let's eliminate this answer choice. Answer choice D. This answer choice talks about a theory that indicates today's organisms being developed from their prehistoric ancestors. The argument mentions today's flightless birds and prehistoric raptors, but does not draw any genetic connection between the two. In other words, the argument does not theorize that today's flightless birds have been developed from prehistoric raptors. So this answer choice cannot be established as the method of reasoning in the argument. Let's eliminate this answer choice. Answer choice E. This answer choice talks about the differences between environments of today's flightless birds and those of prehistoric raptors. The argument makes no suggestion regarding any environment. Also, please note that the argument works on the similarity between the feathers of prehistoric raptors and flightless birds, whereas this answer choice talks about differences. So this answer choice does not correctly highlight the method of reasoning in the argument. Let's eliminate it. A is the correct answer choice.